Hello, how are you doing? Okay, so I'm really hoping this records. This is possibly the sixth time I've done this. A number of times my phone did not record this. I pressed the button. At one point I was just taking pictures of myself, and the other times some messagey thing was, I don't know, coming into my phone. Anyway, deep breath, here we go. And I suppose there was something else going on. I got some really obviously invaluable advice from people who suggested I have a tendency maybe to keep my shoulders up too high. So I was really conscious of trying to keep my shoulders lower. They also mentioned that I had wrinkles, so I was trying to unwrinkle my forehead, and I was holding it. And another kind friend suggested that I dress like a grandfather. So in one of the earlier takes I had a blue t-shirt thing, but then I thought maybe I look like a grandfather, so I've changed into this like a surfing billabong thing, I don't know. Anyway, so right now I'm trying to keep my shoulders down, and the other thing was to make contact with the camera, to really give focus, to reach out. So I'm trying to do all of this. It's like multitasking, and I feel I'm failing miserably. So this is what's going on in my internal world right now as I start this vlog on expressive writing and journaling. And I will, I suppose I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, I've been returning to journaling a lot more than I have been in the last while, and I think this is coming out from a number of different reasons. I'm doing this supervision training, and trained to be a supervisor of therapists and others, and part of that is to keep a journal. And the other piece that's been happening is I've been teaching students, in adult education, and one of the things was they had to keep a journal and then write a reflective piece on that. And I've just been finishing correcting those, and really wonderful stuff, and it really kind of sort of showed me again, for me, the value of writing and the tool of writing. And I suppose the researcher that I'm thinking of is Dr. James Penbaker, who's done an awful lot of work in this area of expressive writing. And he suggests, that expressive writing, and the research seems, from his point of view, would suggest that it can impact help us improve our mental health, improve immune functioning, help us with our sleep, and all manner of things like that. So that's, pretty impressive stuff. So, and one of his arguments for it is that the brain is attempting to provide a sort of an understanding of our experiences. That's what we're trying to do. Our brains are trying to understand, or to help us understand the experience. And the act of writing then seems to provide a kind of a sort of constructive narrative. So it gives a story to our experience in some way. And that helps contextualize and make sense of what's going on for us. So Penbaker would say, by writing about our grief, say, or our trauma, it's almost like we have a space then for it, where we can say to the brain, it's okay. Because if we don't write about it, one of the things, we get stuck in these non-constructive thought processes. It's going round and around and around, and we can feel really stuck. So he makes the point that by writing, and it's a specific type of writing, an expressive writing about our feelings, can really help us kind of move from that stuckness, and we get some sort of closure on that piece. And I've really noticed that for myself, like in the last couple of weeks, with all of the restrictions being lifted, and all the kind of unusual times we're in, where we're transitioning back to some sort of normality, but it's not normal, and it's all kind of strange and hard to process. And I found myself thinking a lot about it, and it was going round and round in my head, and I literally sat down and wrote. I wrote about what I was feeling. I was feeling worried, I was concerned, I was stressed, and I was suddenly finding things out that I hadn't really thought I was feeling or thinking as I wrote. So more and more was able to free itself. I felt more freer in the experience. So it's just, I've had personal experience of it, and I found it really useful. The other thing I think about it in terms of me being a therapist as well. So like when I did my therapist training, journal writing and all of that was a really important part of it, reflecting on our experiences. And that's one of the things Penbaker says. It gives us a chance to stand back and evaluate and reflect on our lives by writing about it. So again, in terms of therapy, when I work with clients, say on a weekly basis, or every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, depending. And one of the things is to have something in between that can be like a sort of support system. you know, because 1 hour a week doesn't always feel enough sometimes for people. But one of the things that therapy seems to be more effective is when we can bridge it in some way. So by keeping a journal, for example, writing about our experiences, writing about how we feel. And again, it's that expressive writing, but it's not a diary like of a plan, or today we did this and yesterday we did that and tomorrow we're going to do that. It's more like it's how I'm feeling. I'm writing about, I'm feeling really overwhelmed, I feel really sad at the moment. You know, I'm talking about stuff that's really difficult for me to talk about, or I'm thinking a lot about such and such a person, and it's bringing up this for me and it's bringing up that for me. And that helps, again, the brain can help us make sense of our experiences more through this writing. And this writing process then gives our brain a break. It doesn't have to keep thinking it. The other thing is, not everyone needs to be, certainly therapy is, you know, you don't have to come for the therapy, you know. You know, or you may not want to, can't afford it, don't want to do it, whatever. And it's not necessary a lot of the time. Just keep it, not trying to talk myself out of a job here, but keeping a journal, it can be really useful. So for those times when I don't particularly want to talk to somebody, I don't want to do that, what I would like to do is have a space. I think journal writing is really, really brilliant, because it's that space for me to write about what I'm thinking. Again, any of these things I'm talking about, they're not like, you know, they're not gonna, it's like no quick fix, you know. These things, we often kind of read things in social media and stuff about mindfulness or this or that, it's gonna somehow transform our lives. I think it's like these things can help us and support us, but to kind of expect that we're gonna somehow be transformed, I think is disingenuous, and I think it's based on, well, I don't know if it's based on any kind of research really, it's kind of selling stuff really. So for me, I'm not trying to sell journal writing or sell therapy or sell anything. I'm just saying that things like writing about our experiences and feelings can offer us an extra support and can be helpful, and is based on some good research on it that seems to suggest for people it can help. Again, it's not going to be suitable to everyone. Some people don't want to go near writing, it's just not their thing. You know, for me, I find it much better for me to write. I keep either a journal or on the computer. I sometimes go back and forth, and it depends on everybody what suits them. But other people are much more sort of artistically inclined, might find it much more beneficial to just get colouring pencils and colour and draw and write about something. And that can be really helpful as well. Some form of place where we're putting our feelings in some way. For me, it's the writing helps me the most. I love metaphor. I think sometimes, you know, you look, sometimes even reading different stories and ideas, we look at sort of Jungian therapy ideas where they talk about myths, that they can hold a lot for us. You know, the stories can help us connect to ourselves. And so for me, journaling is a bit of an expression of that, an extension of that. It helps us write our story in a way, gives us some space. So anyway, that's me. I'm finishing up now. I think I've covered everything. I'm looking at my phone with an awful lot of suspicion right now. And there's a good chance that if this hasn't been recorded, I'll throw my phone out the window. And then I will journal about the impact of throwing the phone out of the window and the stress that's causing me and the concern I have because, you know, there's contacts in it. And I'm also wondering about my shoulders, my forehead, my grandfather look, and I'm not a grandfather, and all of those things are going on for me right now. So again, take a breath, and thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay well, and I really look forward to chatting to you the next time. Take care. Bye.